To make a way for us, and he did.
An airman killed in the line of duty back home. A family's incredible story, 10 years in the making.
Similar to Zika, a lot of individuals may get infected but not have any symptoms whatsoever.
A child dies after a mosquito bite. What you need to know tonight. And Donald Trump drops into San Antonio but leaves a controversy involving San Antonio police.
News 4 San Antonio starts right now.
Our top story tonight, Mayor Ivy Taylor and San Antonio Police Chief William McDonalds are coming down on officers who appear to be endorsing Donald Trump today during his fundraising visit. This is the video in question, posted to Trump's Twitter page not long after he left San Antonio this afternoon. Several SAPD officers who appear to be part of his motorcade today wearing Make America Great Again hats, a signature of the Trump campaign. Trump adding, "We will make America safe and great again together." Tonight, the chief released a statement saying the officers violated SAPD policy and displayed poor judgment. He expects them to know better than to give the appearance of endorsing a candidate while on duty and in uniform, regardless of the political campaign or candidate. The mayor saying tonight she's deeply disappointed by some of our SAPD officers' lack of judgment. While on duty, police must be above politics with an obligation to serve everyone equally. Chief McManus says they will be disciplined and noted officers are charged with protecting the entire community. The president of the union tonight says the officers were most likely just caught up in the moment, not considering the political nature of their actions.
Meanwhile, tonight, police busy caught up in something very serious. They're on the east side where we're told a man has been shot to death. Let's go now to News 4's Robert Price on the live desk for the latest. Robert?
Well, good evening, Randy. Right now, homicide detectives are on the way to an apartment complex along Rigsby Avenue. We have one man confirmed dead and a suspect still on the loose. Here's a live look at the scene. This is an apartment complex called the Rosemont at Highlands Park. You see the yellow crime scene tape up. Here's what investigators are telling us right now about what happened. A 29-year-old man was arguing with his girlfriend in the parking lot of the complex when a stranger walked up and told the man he was going to shoot him. The suspect then pulled out a large caliber gun and fired off 2 shots, hitting the victim once in the chest. The victim died at the scene. The suspect ran off. He is described as a black man in his early 20s. He has facial hair. He was not wearing a shirt, and he has several tattoos. Now, police tell us there are at least 3 witnesses to this shooting, and the victim's girlfriend is cooperating. We will post any updates on our website and social media, but for now, that is the latest from the live desk. I'm Robert Price. Now back to you.
All right, thanks, Robert. New tonight at 10, a Texas fighter pilot who was killed in combat in Iraq and then taken by enemy insurgents is back on U.S. soil after a decade away. News 4 San Antonio's Melissa Vega joins us now with how Major Troy Gilbert's body was recovered now so many years later. Melissa?
Well, truly a miracle, and his wife calls this nothing short of a miracle. Ginger Gilbert Ravella says she got the phone call the family had been waiting 10 years for. Her husband's remains were found. Major Gilbert was 34 years old when he was killed and not only saved the lives of his fellow military members, but coalition allies.
After years of prayer and hope,
God was going to make a way for us, and he did.
F-16 fighter pilot Major Troy Gilbert is home.
I had peace before, but it's a different kind of peace now.
This was the last family photo taken right before Gilbert's 2006 deployment to Iraq.
We had 5 children under the age of 9.
Now, years later, Gilbert's wife shared with us this video as the family watched his remains arrive at Dover Air Force Base last week in a flag-draped casket.
It was the closest we'd been to him in 10 years.
Gilbert's F-16 crashed in November of 2006 while protecting ground forces during a firefight. Before the pilot's body could be recovered by American forces, Al-Qaeda insurgents took it.
He must have been some type of war trophy. It's hard for me to think about.
Ginger Gilbert Ravella says in 2006 her husband's skull fragments were recovered from the crash. When the war ended, the question was what would happen with the search for her husband.
And then in 2013, we got word that those 5 small bones of his foot had been recovered.
And in August, an Iraqi tribal leader near Baghdad approached military representatives about what he claimed to be evidence of Gilbert's remains.
And America asked for evidence.
Gilbert was positively ID'd through DNA testing.
They put their life on the line for him, and the chieftain gave him up, and his harness, his parachute, his flight jacket, his flight suit, you know. But I think about those troops that did that for him.
Soon, Gilbert's family, friends, and colleagues will gather at Arlington National Cemetery one last time to pay their final respects to a man who loved and served his country until his last breath.
And a ceremony for Major Gilbert is anticipated for mid-December. Ginger says part of the unit that rescued her husband was the same unit he saved 10 years ago. And to her, it was a personal mission. Melissa Vega, News 4, San Antonio.
New developments now on a threat written on a bathroom wall at New Braunfels High School. Investigators plan to charge a 16-year-old boy. The threat was found last week and named 2 specific girls. Their parents were notified over the weekend, and today police were able to identify the student they believe is responsible. School officials have already taken disciplinary actions. The latest now from San Antonio Pets Alive, rushing to find homes for dozens of animals after city leaders voted to give their shelter to someone else. News 4 San Antonio's Aaron Nichols explains how you can help save lives this weekend.
Surgery, paperwork, everything that was done over at Animal Care Services.
Claire Cook's children can't wait to get their first dog.
I call her Pepsi.
P-E-P-S-I.
Sappa is grateful they're here.
We have a lot of great dogs and cats that need homes, and we need to find them homes soon.
That's because Sappa must vacate this building by October 31st.
So we are actively trying to get all the animals here adopted or into foster homes.
When the city started leasing the Paul Jolly Center, Sappa was the only bidder. But when the lease came up this year, the Humane Society and the Animal Defense League also bid on it. The city scored them on experience and sustainability. The ADL scored the highest and won.
We did have a period of time where there was some inconsistencies and some decisions made that cost us some extra funding. We're on a much better path now.
Sappa is also working on getting a new building.
It's a good size adoption center that can house somewhere around 40 animals. So whereas the Paul Jolly Center can house around 120, 40 is better than nothing.
As for the animals, this weekend there will be a huge Halloween-themed adoption event to clear the shelter. Starting Thursday through Sunday, all adoptions are just for a donation. The ADL has agreed to also help find them all homes.
You never know, you might fall in love like we did.
Aaron Nichols, News 4, San Antonio.
Still ahead on 4, a story about a local high school student doing what he can to help a girl who is having a bad day missing her father.
And a man caught on camera relieving himself, but it's what happened after this that will really shock you.
Great looking day across South Texas, a few high clouds and not much else, but the weather is changing yet again. I'll let you know exactly how it's going to impact your week when I come back.
The death of a teenager up in Bastrop County who contracted the West Nile virus, well, that is now raising concerns right here after 3 mosquitoes have tested positive with that virus. News 4's Camilla Rambaldi joins us live tonight after talking to health officials about the simple things you can do to keep you and your family safe. Camilla?
Well, Randy, Metro Health officials tell me the mosquitoes mostly act during the early mornings and evenings. And for that reason, if you're going to be outside, make sure to spray on mosquito repellent, because so far this year, Texas has seen 7 deaths linked to the virus.
You can feel the pain in this father's words.
And you never thought that something as simple as a mosquito bite would take your son's life.
His 13-year-old son's death has been linked to the West Nile virus, and as a reminder for everyone to use mosquito repellent more often.
And the sadness in their hearts that they couldn't do more for him.
Here in Bexar County, 3 mosquitoes have tested positive for West Nile in the last month. Metro Health officials say 2 local cases were reported this year, but it is unclear how the virus was contracted.
Similar to Zika. A lot of individuals may get infected but not have any symptoms whatsoever.
The Texas Department of State Health Services says while 80% of the U.S. population will not have symptoms, 20% could develop a fever.
The only way to really know is, again, going to your physician and having diagnostic tests to see if it's being caused by West Nile.
In Texas alone, numbers from health services show this year 7 deaths have been linked to West Nile, and last year 16, with more than 200 reports of people contracting the illness.
Individuals that have meningitis or the encephalitis, about 10% of those individuals may end up in a fatality. For West Nile fever, most individuals will recover.
To keep the mosquitoes away, use an EPA-approved repellent. If you or your children are going to be outside, long sleeves and pants are recommended.
Luckily for West Nile, it's more active in the evenings and early mornings.
Also, get rid of any breeding sites around your home.
So eliminating stagnant water, standing water.
These simple precautions could save a life.
Again, if you would like to get tested, just ask your physician. And right now, county crews continue to treat areas where the infected mosquitoes could be. We're live tonight from the northwest side. Camilla Rambaldi, News 4, San Antonio.
Topping headlines across the nation tonight, McDonald's deciding to limit Ronald McDonald's appearances right now, at least until all these crazy clown sightings die down. As we've reported, there have been sightings across the nation of creepy clowns scaring people. Now, while Ronald isn't creepy, the restaurant chain says they're just being thoughtful considering the current climate around clown sightings.
Outrage in Pennsylvania is now drawing the attention of state representatives there as a cemetery says they're closed. They're not letting people who had planned on being buried next to their loved ones be buried there now, and they're also no longer allowing visitors.
I'm now being told if I want to visit him, I need to exhume his body and move him somewhere else, somewhere where he didn't pick.
This is one of the most atrocious things I've ever heard.
The families there met with state representatives to voice their frustrations today. Now, the owners of the cemetery have posted no trespassing signs all around the graveyard, private property. They won't even allow people who've already purchased plots to be buried there or visit. The cemetery was sold at auction back in 2010. Right now, though, it's still unclear why the new owner has closed it off.
Caught on camera in Alaska, a young man relieving himself on a building, but it's what the store owner saw next that really surprised him.
The act appears to be deliberate because the culprit looks directly into the camera. That's what was so disheartening to business owner Russ Reno. But today, something he never expected in a million years.
I couldn't even talk because of the fact that it was just really kind of overwhelming.
The young man makes another appearance in his surveillance footage, only this time he's in uniform.
This is not the way you act. I don't care if you're in military or not. You just don't act this way.
Turns out he's a soldier, and his superiors recognized him when the video showed up on the news, prompting his commander to march him downtown to apologize to Reno.
Basically that, he was wrong and that it's not the way that he should represent himself and that it would never, ever happen again.
That might not be the last apology Reno gets. The two recognized other soldiers in the video, including this guy.
I'm not allowed to do any interviews until after my unit gives me clearance. He's not allowed to say a word. Don't say his name. Come on.
This soldier is getting a valuable lesson in integrity. His commander is taking him to the police next. Meanwhile, Russ is keeping his cameras up, a watchful eye he hopes he doesn't actually need.
Well, Anchorage police say the soldier who apologized to Russ faces a $150 fine.
A San Antonio family is now thanking a young man for saving a little girl.
Saving her from a heartbreaking moment that made her miss her military dad.
News 4 San Antonio's Michael Locklear shows us a stranger's gesture that turned tears into smiles.
I wish you were here too. I miss you.
Addie Rodriguez knows her dad is training in California. He's a senior airman who served in Iraq and Afghanistan.
She's really tough and she understands that Dad goes away for a reason. Oh, honey, it's okay.
Saturday featured a moment Addie missed her dad very much on this field at Central Catholic High School. The 9-year-old is a cheerleader. She was performing when all the dads lifted their girls onto their shoulders.
It was really heartbreaking to see your daughter standing out there being the only one without their father.
I just felt like really sad because I missed him a lot.
Then Addie saw someone rushing toward her.
So I ran down from the bleachers right here and I just hopped the fence and I went over and I kneeled down. I talked to her and I said, "Are you okay?"
Senior Matthew Garcia picked her up.
I just saw him run to me and said, "You can come on my shoulder."
And then I realized what he was doing and my heart just melted. I mean, it was just the most beautiful thing.
I'm glad I could help make your day.
An emergency fill-in for Addie's father, serving 1,700 miles away.
I just felt like somebody saved my life. I thought that was so nice, especially because my dad's serving for us.
Michael Locklear, News 4, San Antonio.
San Antonio's voice tonight is a very familiar one if you've lived here very long, and he's talking about why all of us, taxpayers here, he thinks should invest in something that is brand new to this area.
We need to put resources into our parks, our greenways, our hike and bike paths, because it makes the city a better place to live. And that is good for San Antonio. That is good for all citizens.
And that is former Mayor Phil Hardberger, looking pretty good at 82. He's talking about plans for a land bridge there across Wurzbach Parkway that connects the two parts, the halves of Hardberger Park, which is named after him. Now, that would allow animals and people to cross the park. People wouldn't have to get in a car anymore and drive a mile and a half to the other entrance across a very busy Wurzbach. Now, this is the last part of the park's master plan, and $15 million of next year's proposed bond would finish that and the whole park. But it would also guarantee that it would bring in another $10 million in private investment. But this land bridge concept is brand new here, and Hardberger knows that for some people, anything like this will be a tough sell.
That's always been a problem in San Antonio. A lot of people, when you try to do anything, say, I don't think it's worth it. When I led the charge to expand the improvement of the river, which wound up being about $300 million, you'd be surprised at how many people said, well, that's not worth it. I mean, why are we doing that? I don't think today, though, you'll find anybody saying that. Everybody loves the river.
Now, he says it was the same thing with Haven for Hope and redoing Main Plaza as well. So what do you think of making this part of the big bond plan that we will all vote on next spring? Is it worth it to you? And by the way, we'll be looking at other proposals for that bond issue as well. You can let us know a little later tonight what you think of this on our News 4 SA Facebook page.
San Antonio's most accurate forecast. 4-zone weather.
Well, let's start with your 4 things you should know. Temperatures are warming up. Those beautiful cold mornings are kind of going away. The humidity is building up, and that's certainly an issue. Sunrise, or should I say sunshine, continues, and showers do return on Thursday. Let me give you a first thing to think about. This is the relative humidities in the afternoon. Friday, 64, 58, Saturday, 27, 28, and then it started to climb back up again. That impacts the overnight lows. We were at 65. As the humidity went down, the temperatures went down to 51. As the humidity goes up, the temperatures are going back up again. Water retains heat at night and really doesn't allow us to cool down. The other thing that's impacting us is the angle of the sun. In summertime, it's at 84 degrees, pretty high above the horizon. In the fall or in the spring, it's about 61. And then when we get into winter, it's down to 38%. So the higher the sun is, the more it heats you up. The lower it is, the less. We're on the way to that lower angle, but in the interim, we still have enough direct heat to warm us back up into the 90s. Look at the moisture streaming in from the Gulf of Mexico. The only appreciable rain, though, is really out in East Texas. Current temperatures, 69 here, that's gorgeous, 71 in Hondo. Out into the hill country, they're all already into the 60s. They'll be dropping nicely. 70s out west and mid-70s as well, to low 70s out east. Very comfortable. Future tracker shows you the moisture continues to stream, finally begins to deepen a little bit closer to San Antonio. By Wednesday in the morning, we'll have the front just now breaking in to the state of Texas. It'll slide south and make its way into the Texas Hill Country by Thursday at 7 o'clock in the morning, then move its way south and then kind of just park itself. And so we're hoping that its proximity to San Antonio will help erupt just a couple of showers while it sits there and basically fades away. 4-zone for tomorrow, 62 to 90. See, I told you the angle is still too high with the sun to not keep us from hitting 90 degrees. 88 in the hill country, 90 as well expected. And I'm just being positive by giving us an 88. We could hit 90, a couple of degrees one way or the other. Certainly parts of town will. 62 tonight. See, already 10 degrees warmer than last night. Tomorrow, then, we're looking for temperatures again to warm back up again. I'm just pushing the envelope there at 88, 89 degrees. We'll see. So tomorrow, 62 in the morning, 73, 88. Comfortable still, but I know we'd like us all in October to be wearing jackets. There's the date, Saturday. I'm going to finally own up to it and take it up to 90. But trying to keep us cool, 92 on Tuesday. 7-day forecast for the rest of our friends looks equally as warm. We're not in the brisk 70s, not just yet. 7-day forecast looks not bad. The aquifer doesn't look bad either, but it has dropped to 676.8. This is all online, by the way, at news4sa.com.
Hey, it sounds like somebody's been bending Jerry Jones's ear. Maybe? Now, he's not so sure Tony Romo will start when he's healthy. The latest on the Cowboys quarterback quandary, and why Aggie fans may have even more hope when they square off against #1 Alabama. Straight ahead.
I know what's happening here 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. I'm going to wait and see.
Somebody got to Jerry Jones just 2 days after claiming Tony Romo was his guy, period. Jones is now keeping his options open. You know, it's obvious to just about anybody that knows football, rookie or not, Dak Prescott is a better option for the Cowboys at quarterback than Tony Romo. Yes, even a healthy Tony Romo, because we saw a healthy Tony Romo in training camp, and that guy can't do what the rookie is doing. Everybody seemed to see that except Jerry Jones, who reiterated after the Cincinnati game that when Romo comes back, he will start. But something has changed between Sunday and Jerry's radio show today. Maybe he's seen the tape. Romo can't run in touchdowns off a zone read like this right here, and Romo can't beat the defensive end to the outside like this to find Cole Beasley for the score. So although Romo's a good quarterback with lots of experience, the Cowboys are going to ride Dak Prescott, and Jerry said evaluate this thing for a couple of more weeks.
You've got more than one moving part in the equation, so you really don't know. What we do is play this thing out. We see how we play against Green Bay. Let's see how we play against Philadelphia. I don't have to have succinct problem-solving answers at this time. I don't live that way.
Very interesting. Cowboys taking on the Packers. That will be a tough one for Dak Prescott. Sunday, 3:35 at Lambeau Field, and we will be there with complete coverage. Hey, the Aggies are up to number 6 in the latest AP poll. Undefeated and wrecking the SEC thanks to San Antonio's own Trevor Knight. The kid from Reagan High School who lost his job at OU is proving what we've always known about him. Good things happen to good people and hard work pays off. Knight is the National Offensive Player of the Week by more than a few outlets after leading the Aggies to their first 6-0 start in 22 years. He had 5 touchdowns Saturday against Tennessee, ran for 3, including the game winner in double overtime. A&M has met all the major challenges, including the wins over UCLA, Auburn, Tennessee, and Bama is next. #1 Bama in Tuscaloosa. Remember, Knight was the Sugar Bowl MVP and beat Bama when he played at Oklahoma. So does that count for anything all these years later?
It's been a while since he played. You look at all those young DBs and everybody else that have scored, 8 9 defensive touchdowns. They weren't playing in that game. So I'm more concerned about what I'm seeing right now.
Again, the Aggies have a bye week this week, the Bama game a week from Saturday. Thursday Night Lights goes to the Rock Pile this week. We've got Highlands and Sam Houston at Alamo Stadium. The Owls and the Hurricanes are both still alive for the playoffs. There's a lot at stake in this one. The winner of this game will have a big leg up for getting the 4th playoff spot in that district. Highlands has won 2 in a row, and they've pitched 2 straight shutouts.
We're really proud of that. You know, Highlands hasn't had a shutout in quite a long time. So they were pretty happy on the first one, but the second one was even better. We hang our hat on defense. We make a team one-dimensional, and that's really the whole goal of the whole year.
Join us Thursday night on the CW35 for Church's Chicken Thursday Night Lights. Speaking of high school football, some dandies, as usual, have been nominated for our Pick and Pull Play of the Week. Clemens continues to see magic from UTSA commit Frank Harris, but he's got some competition this week from both South San for that one and Brennan for this one. And you only have less than 24 hours to vote, so check them out at news4sa.com. You just go on to the website. Who are you going to vote for, Clemens, South San, or Brennan? We will announce the winner tomorrow night. I think a lot of Cowboy fans think that is refreshing news to hear Jerry Jones at least keeping his options open.
Yes,
see how they play.
I think you're right, Don. We'll be right back. Okay, you can
Certainly,
do it.
i.e.
Tomorrow on News 4 San Antonio Today, another chance to take a pledge and win a News 4 SA coffee mug. Plus, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office attempts to tackle child abuse with a program targeting repeat offenders. Those stories along with weather, traffic, and breaking news starting tomorrow morning at 4:30 right here on News 4 San Antonio Today.
I'm hoping we don't hit 90 tomorrow.
Okay.
88.
Cross our fingers.
Yeah, we just need to dive right into winter.
But at least it's drier, as you've been
It's a
saying.
dry
It's
heat.
not this humid heat.
Sort of.
You said winter. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow. There's no winter.